If you have lived in your home for 20, 30, 40 years, downsizing can feel very overwhelming. Not just because moving is difficult, although it's no picnic either, but really it's because you're not just moving your belongings, you're transitioning your entire lifestyle. So the smoothest downsizing moves that I have seen seem to follow a very similar roadmap. So in this video, I'm going to share that roadmap with you. That way you can basically start prepping early, avoid some common mistakes, and make this process and transition as stress-free as possible. Step one is understanding your financial position. This should happen before you clean a single closet, donate a single box, or call the movers. You definitely want to understand where you are at financially. A lot of downsizers are surprised by one of two things. Either their current home is worth more or less than they thought it was, or their next home is more or less expensive than they expected. So once you understand both sides of that equation, you can start making more informed decisions about budget, timing, and whether downsizing even makes sense right now. This is where talking to a real estate professional early on can be extremely valuable. Not necessarily because you're ready to move tomorrow or anything, but because they can help you understand your options before you make any major decisions. Step two is to define what you are moving to. So are you ready to move back into the city and get back to that city lifestyle after being in the suburbs for a while? Are you going to be moving south and getting out of the cold weather? So maybe you're moving from New England or the northern part of the US down to Florida or Texas or Arizona. Are you moving closer to family? Are you going to be moving to one level living? So either a condo or maybe a ranch style single family home somewhere. Defining the lifestyle that you are looking forward to can help you understand the next home you are looking for. So don't just stop at the home type and the size and price point. You want to understand how you envision actually living in that home. Many downsizers focus more on what they are willing to give up. So maybe it's that additional bedroom or square footage they don't feel like they are using, or a yard that they don't want to maintain. But they don't realize they could also be giving up some of the kitchen space that they are used to having, some cabinet space, storage space, or even room for additional family that comes to visit. You may be perfectly happy with one less bedroom, but not necessarily willing to sacrifice kitchen or counter space. Maybe you no longer need a formal dining space, but you still want to have some room to host the family for holidays. Maybe you don't care about having a large yard anymore, but having a first floor primary suite is a priority to you. The goal here isn't simply finding a smaller home. It is understanding how you want to live the next chapter of your life. So ask yourself some questions here. How often do you plan on cooking? Will children or grandchildren be staying overnight? How much storage do you realistically need? Do you want to travel more and spend less time maintaining the property? What are the non-negotiables that you will miss if they are gone? So the clearer the destination becomes here, the easier every other decision becomes. Step three is building your transition team. So many people don't realize that downsizing requires a lot more than just a real estate agent and a moving truck. You may need organizers, storage solutions, estate sale companies, contractors, senior transition specialists, or even temporary housing. The earlier you start building that team, the less overwhelming this process becomes. The good news here is that a great real estate professional can help introduce many of these resources to you. And that's one of the many reasons I encourage people to start these conversations with real estate professionals earlier than they think they have to. You absolutely do not have to figure out everything on your own here, and locating a great real estate agent can make this process a lot less daunting from the start. Step four is to declutter your house using 5 categories. Once you know where you're moving and roughly when you're moving, it is time to start reducing the amount of stuff in your house. The biggest mistake I see people making here is trying to organize everything before making decisions. Don't do that. Instead, create these 5 categories. Number 1, trash. These are the broken, expired, damaged, or unusable items. Number 2, donate. Good items that aren't worth the effort of selling. Number 3, sell. Items valuable enough to justify the time and effort it takes to sell them. Number 4, store. Things you're absolutely keeping but won't need immediately. And number 5, move. Items that you are confident are coming with you. Just remember that progress beats precision here. You do not have to make the perfect decision about every single item in your house. The goal is to just slowly reduce the volume of belongings in your home. Now, here's the important part. Do not work room by room. Work area by area. So one closet, one cabinet, one bookshelf, one section of the basement, one shelf in the garage at a time. It is extremely easy to get overwhelmed when you're looking at an entire basement or garage full of items and feeling like you have to tackle it all at once. So focus on a small area and finish that one area completely but efficiently, and then move on to the next area. Set a timer for yourself so you don't get stuck in the weeds. And when it comes to selling items, be realistic. Every item that you decide to sell requires photos, descriptions, messages, scheduling, and coordinating pickups. So if you're trying to sell hundreds of smaller items for a few bucks each, you could easily spend dozens and dozens of hours and not make very much money. So set a minimum value threshold with items that you are willing to sell. Maybe it's $50 or $100, and everything else you're either going to donate or give to family. And start with the easy decisions first. You do not want to start with piles of photo albums or family keepsakes or children's artwork or decades of paperwork. Those tend to be the most emotional and time-consuming categories. So unless you are a year or more out from moving, you probably don't have time to go photo to photo or file to file and figure out which you are keeping and which you are throwing away. So first, just focus on simply reducing volume, and then you can go back into the finer details later if there's time. And as you're figuring out what is going to be moving with you as far as furniture goes, make sure you're measuring those large pieces of furniture. The best time to learn that the dining room table is not going to fit into the new house is before moving day. And if you are using a storage facility or some kind of a temporary storage unit, make sure you have a plan. This should not turn into a holding facility for a decision that you just could not make in the moment. So if you're going to be storing things, understand why you're storing them and when they're going to be coming out of storage. And downsizing doesn't mean getting rid of everything either. It just means understanding what is important enough to you to earn a place in your next home. Step 5 is preparing the home. So as you go through the home area by area, you want to identify the deferred maintenance items. So we're talking about loose handrails, chipping paint, leaky faucets, damaged screens, burnt out light fixtures, small repairs that you have been meaning to get to for years. Now, you do not need to renovate the whole home here. Just make a note, flag the item, and then continue decluttering, and then circle back to make all of those minor repairs later. Identifying these minor repair items early on can help reduce stress later on, especially when you get into post-inspection and you want to avoid these buyers beating you up on little minor repairs, so you can take care of those ahead of time and be a lot more confident with the offers that come in on your property, and know that there's not going to be crazy renegotiations based on all of these minor issues. Step number 6 is to consider your timing and home sale options. So one of the things that I see sellers doing at this point is they're gaining a little bit more confidence with their timeline. They understand roughly when they're going to be finished decluttering and preparing the home, and they choose to start privately marketing the home. So keeping it off the market, not going on the MLS, marketing it to a smaller group of buyers. Why would anyone ever want to market their home to a smaller group of potential home buyers? Well, they understand that they can eventually go on the MLS once they are fully prepared to list their property, show it in its best light, and then start acquiring days on market. But they also understand, hey, if I'm going to be finished decluttering the home in like 30 days, and I can get an offer that I'm happy with based on what other similar homes are selling for, then why wouldn't I just put it out there to a smaller group of buyers? And if I get an offer for that price point, great. That will allow me to get to the closing table around the same time that I've finished decluttering the property, and I can just move on to the next chapter 45 to 60 days earlier than I would have if I started listing the home on the MLS when I finished decluttering. So it's a simple trade-off for, some people just want that smoother and shorter timeline. And it's not going to work for everyone. Some people are super focused on just making sure they show the property in the best possible light, get it in front of as many buyers as possible, and move on with the sale from there. So totally up to the sellers, but some people do choose to market privately and allows them to streamline things a little bit. Step number 7 is do not wait until the last month. The smoothest downsizing moves I have seen are not the people that have worked the hardest. They're the people that started the earliest. They gave themselves time to understand their finances, explore their options, build the right team, and gradually prepare for the move. And because they weren't rushing, they were able to just make better decisions along the way. The goal is not to move faster, it is to move with confidence. Step number 8 is to set up your new home intentionally. Once you have moved, resist the urge to fill every single empty corner of the new house. One of the biggest advantages of downsizing is that every single square foot becomes more intentional. Before buying any additional furniture or storage solutions, spend a few weeks living there and understanding how you are actually using the space. And then look for furniture that serves multiple purposes. Let's say a Murphy bed or a bed with built-in storage, ottomans with hidden compartments, dining tables that expand when guests visit, wall-mounted shelving that keeps floor space open. And don't feel obligated to just replace everything that you gave away or didn't make it in the move. A lot of downsizers discover that they actually enjoy having less to organize, less to clean, and more open space than they actually expected to. The goal isn't to just fit your old house into a smaller home. The goal is to design a home that supports the way you live today. Guys, if you are considering downsizing in the next year or even 2 years, my advice is simple. Start sooner than you think. That way the process stays manageable and does not become a burden for you or your family. Even taking care of some of the small stuff early on can make a huge difference down the road. If you have questions about downsizing, want to understand what your home might be worth and what your options are, feel free to reach out to me and our team of agents here in the greater Boston area. If you're located somewhere else, we have a national network of trusted partners who can help you make your transition as smooth as possible. And if you found this video even remotely helpful, do me a favor and leave a comment, subscribe to the channel, and thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you on the next one. Take care.